He helped win cricket's first World Cup, but died of a heart attack on his 53rd birthday. The tragic truth about Keith Boyce's wild lifestyle on October 11, 1996, Barbados. It should have been a day of celebration. Keith Boyce was turning 53, the man who helped win cricket's first ever World Cup in 1975, the explosive all-rounder who took 8 wickets in a single match, the Barbadian hero who conquered English county cricket. But instead of birthday cake and celebrations, Keith Boyce collapsed and died. Keith David Boyce died on October 11, 1996, his 53rd birthday. He died of a suspected heart attack in his native Barbados on his 53rd birthday in 1996. But here's the shocking truth. Keith's death wasn't just bad luck. It was the inevitable result of a lifestyle that burned bright but burned fast. Stay with me, because this is the untold story of cricket's forgotten World Cup hero and the wildlife that killed him. Let's start with who Keith Boyce really was before fame and excess took over his life. Keith David Boyce was born on 11th October 1943 in St. Peter, Barbados. He wasn't born into cricket royalty like some players. He had to fight for every opportunity. He studied at Coleridge and Parry School and started as a leg spinner. He played with Everton Weekes, Seymour Nurse, and Charlie Griffith at a young age. Even as a teenager, Keith knew he was special. He was a natural athlete who could do everything. Bowl fast, hit hard, field like a panther. But most importantly, he had that rare quality that separates good players from great ones. He had the ability to change a match single-handedly. Boyce was a fantastic athlete. He switched to medium-fast bowling and was known for his hard hitting as well. He made his first-class debut against International Cavaliers in February 1965. Boyce scored quick-fire 55 and took 2 wickets in the match. Right from his debut, you could see Keith was different. Most players are either bowlers or batsmen. Keith was both, and he was brilliant at both. But what really set him apart was his attitude. He played cricket like his hair was on fire. Everything was fast. Everything was aggressive. Everything was exciting. In 1966, Keith's life changed forever when he joined Essex County Cricket Club in England. He spent 12 years with Essex from 1966 to 1977, and it was appropriate and maybe no coincidence that these were years when Essex won nothing but had an enormous amount of fun. Think about that for a second. Keith joined a team that never won anything but always entertained. That tells you everything about his approach to cricket. He wasn't there to grind out boring victories. He was there to put on a show. And what a show it was. Frank Wrist was the coach of the Essex team. Wrist told Boyce was the first to arrive and last to leave the practice sessions. Keith was dedicated. He worked harder than anyone. But when it came to match day, he played with a freedom that few cricketers have ever matched. He bowled fast and attacked the stumps. He batted like every ball might be his last. He fielded like his life depended on it. The breakthrough moment came in 1971. Boyce was the first man to take 8 wickets in a List A match. He achieved the feat when he took 826 for Essex against Lancashire in 1971. No other player dismissed 8 batsmen in a one-day innings until Kent's Derrick. Underwood claimed 831 against Scotland 16 years later. 8 wickets in a one-day match. Let me put that in perspective for you. In most cricket matches, the best bowlers take 3 or 4 wickets. Taking 5 wickets is considered exceptional. Taking 8 wickets in a single innings was almost impossible. But Keith did it. And he did it in style. That performance made Keith famous around the cricket world. Suddenly, everyone wanted to know about this explosive all-rounder from Barbados who was tearing up English county cricket. He was a member of the squad that won the 1975 Cricket World Cup. The West Indies selectors knew they had to include Keith in their World Cup squad. He was too good to leave out, too exciting to ignore. The 1975 World Cup was cricket's first ever global tournament. Nobody knew what to expect. The format was new. The pressure was enormous. But Keith thrived under pressure. Clive Lloyd's heroic 102-run innings stole the limelight of 1975 World Cup final. However, Boyce's all-round contribution added a significant value in the winning script. He made a rapid 34 of 37 balls and helped West Indies to reach 291. He also took 4 crucial wickets and broke the backbone of Australia's batting. Think about what Keith did in that World Cup final. He scored quick runs when his team needed them. Then he took 4 wickets to destroy Australia's batting. In the biggest match in cricket history at that time, Keith delivered when it mattered most. He wasn't the most famous player on the team. That was Clive Lloyd. He wasn't the fastest bowler. That was Andy Roberts. But when the pressure was on, Keith stepped up and won the match for his team. But here's where Keith's story gets complicated. Success and fame changed him. Or maybe they just revealed who he really was underneath. On or off the cricket field, Keith Boyce never observed the speed limit. Which is why, sadly, this creature of excess became a victim of his lifestyle. Keith lived life in the fast lane. He partied hard. He drank hard. He lived like there was no tomorrow. For a while, Keith's lifestyle didn't affect his cricket. If anything, it seemed to fuel his performances. He was the life of the party off the field and a match winner on it. Boyce's finest moment in Test cricket came in the first Test of the 1973 tour of England. His best performance came against England at Oval in 1973. Boyce took 5 wickets in the first innings and 6 in the second. He was named Wisden Cricketer of the Year in 1974, Wisden Cricketer of the Year. That's the highest honor in cricket. It's given to the player who has had the biggest impact on the game in that year. In 1974, that player was Keith Boyce, the wild man from Barbados who partied like a rock star and played like a genius. For a brief moment, Keith was on top of the world. But living in the fast lane comes with a price, and Keith was about to find out just how high that price could be. His body started to break down from the combination of intense cricket and his wild lifestyle. Injuries became more frequent. His performances became inconsistent. By the mid-1970s, Keith was no longer the player he once was. He played 21 tests and 8 one-day internationals for the West Indies between 1971 and 1976. His international career was over by 1976. He was only 33 years old. Most cricketers are at their peak at 33. But Keith's body was already paying the price for years of excess. Even after his international career ended, Keith continued playing county cricket for Essex, but he was living on borrowed time. The combination of physical stress from cricket and the lifestyle he led away from cricket was taking a toll. Friends and teammates could see he was struggling, but Keith was too proud to ask for help, too stubborn to change his ways. Keith Boyce played in 21 Test matches for West Indies in the early 1970s, but was better known for being one of the most exciting and successful imports into county cricket. After his playing career ended, Keith tried to stay involved in cricket. He did some coaching. He worked with young players, but the game had moved on without him. The wild, exciting cricket he represented was being replaced by more professional, more disciplined approaches. Keith found himself increasingly isolated from the modern cricket world. The sport he had helped make famous was now being played by athletes who lived completely different lives. Players who had nutritionists and fitness trainers. Players who treated their bodies like temples. Players who couldn't understand how someone could be so talented and so self-destructive at the same time. The tragic irony of Keith's story is that he helped create the modern game but couldn't adapt to it himself. The 1975 World Cup that he helped win was the tournament that launched cricket as a global sport. Prize money increased. Media coverage exploded. Professional standards rose. But Keith was stuck in the old way of doing things. The way where talent was enough, where living wild was just part of being a cricketer. As the years went on, Keith's health got worse. The years of hard living were catching up with him. He had heart problems, weight issues, but he refused to slow down. Keith Boyce never observed the speed limit. That was true right up until the end, October 11th, 1996. Keith woke up in Barbados on his 53rd birthday. He should have been celebrating. Maybe reflecting on an incredible cricket career. Maybe spending time with family and friends. Instead, the years of excess finally caught up with him. He died of a suspected heart attack in his native Barbados on his 53rd birthday in 1996. The timing was cruelly ironic. Keith died on the day that should have been his celebration. The day that marked another year of life became the day his life ended. Keith David Boyce died on October 11, 1996, his 53rd birthday, just 53 years old. In cricket terms, that's young. Many former players live well into their 70s and 80s. But Keith's lifestyle choices had robbed him of those extra years. The cricket world was shocked by Keith's death. Tributes poured in from around the world. Former teammates talked about his incredible talent. Opponents remembered his fierce competitiveness. Cricket fans recalled his match-winning performances, but underneath all the tributes was a sense of sadness. Sadness that such a talented player had died so young. Sadness that his lifestyle had ultimately destroyed him. This creature of excess became a victim of his lifestyle. Those words capture the tragedy of Keith Boyce perfectly. He was a creature of excess. Everything he did was over the top. His cricket was explosive. His parties were legendary. His lifestyle was extreme. And in the end, that excess killed him. But here's the thing about Keith Boyce. Even knowing how his story ends, you can't help but admire him. He played cricket the way most people wish they could live their lives, with complete freedom, with total commitment, with absolute passion. He never held anything back. On the field or off it, Keith's death exposed the dark truth about cricket in the 1970s and 1980s. It was a different era. Players didn't have the support systems that exist today. There were no wellness programs, no counselors, no one monitoring players' lifestyle choices. If you were talented enough, you could play no matter how you lived. And Keith was so talented that he got away with his lifestyle for years. But talent can only protect you for so long. Eventually, the body rebels. Eventually, the lifestyle catches up with you. And for Keith Boyce, that eventually came on his 53rd birthday. The tragedy of Keith's story is that it didn't have to end that way. If he had been born 20 years later, he would have had access to nutritionists, fitness experts, and mental health support. The cricket world would have recognized his problems and helped him deal with them. But Keith was born in a different era, an era where players were expected to sort out their own problems. Keith Boyce was one of cricket's greatest entertainers. He was a World Cup winner, a record holder, a Wisden Cricketer of the Year. He brought joy to thousands of cricket fans around the world. But he also became a cautionary tale about the dangers of living life in the fast lane. The forgotten hero of West Indies was in the winning side of 1975 World Cup. That's how Keith is remembered now, as the forgotten hero, the player who helped make cricket history but died too young to enjoy his legacy. The man who burned bright but burned fast. His story serves as a reminder that talent alone isn't enough. That success in sport requires more than just ability. It requires discipline, self-control, the wisdom to know when enough is enough. These were lessons Keith never learned. And ultimately, that cost him everything. When cricket fans today watch highlights of the 1975 World Cup, they see Keith Boyce in his prime, taking wickets, scoring runs, celebrating with his teammates. They see the excitement, the joy, the pure love of the game. But they also see a man who was living on borrowed time, a man whose lifestyle was slowly killing him even as he achieved greatness. Keith Boyce died on his 53rd birthday, a victim of his own excess. But his cricket legacy lives on. He showed that the game could be exciting, entertaining, and unpredictable. He proved that all-rounders could be match winners, and he helped win cricket's first World Cup, launching the sport into the global phenomenon it is today. The truth about Keith Boyce is both inspiring and heartbreaking. Inspiring because of what he achieved, heartbreaking because of what he threw away. He had everything a cricketer could want: talent, success, fame, recognition. But he also had demons that he couldn't control. And in the end, those demons won. Subscribe if this shocking truth about Keith Boyce opened your eyes, and share it to remember cricket's forgotten World Cup hero who died too young.